USDA loans, what are the pros and cons of using them to purchase a home for a first-time home buyer? Hey, welcome to the show today. Thanks for joining me. I'm Jeff, the Mortgage Pro. I appreciate you watching very much. And today we're talking about USDA loans. USDA loans are United States Department of Agricultural backed loans. And these are by far, for me, one of my favorite, most rewarding loans to do. And the reason being is because it's for low to moderate income borrowers as determined by county eligibility. But what I love about it is that 97% of the country can qualify for a USDA loan. And they're so underutilized in most areas. And I wish that more people had a chance to look at them, use them, and buy houses with them because they have some great benefits. And this can be a tool that you use to get into a house. It doesn't need to be a loan that you have for the entire 30 years that you live in the property. It's just something that's a stepping stone to help you get into a property. And then later on down the road, after your finances and interest rates and whatnot change, you can always refinance into a different product, assuming you meet the guidelines for those additional products or different types of products that you may want to get in. So USDA loans are a phenomenal tool to help you get into a property. And again, 97% of the country can qualify for a USDA loan based on where you live in the United States. So let's go through some of the pros of a USDA loan, and then we'll go through a couple of the cons as well. So the pros, what are they? The pro, number one, is that you don't have to have a down payment. This is a 100% financing loan, and that means that you can actually buy a property without having to have any down payment. Now, you need to have a little bit of money for the closing costs, and there's some fees in there that can be financed into the loan, but you, for the most part, don't have to have any down payment to get a USDA loan. The second pro is that the interest rates are really competitive. And that's compared to like conventional loans. And the reason being is that USDA loans are backed by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. They're insured by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And that means that they're not the ones that are actually lending money. And if you were to default on that, the lender that actually lends money can recoup their investment that they made in doing that loan. So that leads to better pricing for you. And that means better interest rates. They can be anywhere from 0.5% to 1% better than the typical market rate. USDA loans have low mortgage insurance requirements, and it's not actually called mortgage insurance with a USDA loan. It's called an annual fee. It's 0.35% of the financed amount of the loan that you have, but that 0.35% is then broken down into 12 equal payments that you pay as part of your monthly payment on a yearly basis for your USDA loan. USDA loans also have what's called an Upfront Guarantee Fee of 1% of the total financed amount. But the benefit of that and what most people do is that you can finance that into the actual loan itself. So you could have beyond 100% financing in some instances if you do finance that upfront guarantee fee. USDA loans typically have flexible credit guidelines, and that means that you don't have to have perfect credit to be able to get a USDA loan. Conventional loans are much more credit dependent than government loans. And since, again, the USDA loan is backed by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, they insure the loans in case of default. That means that they can offer better rates and they're not as credit dependent as a conventional loan would be. And the last pro is that you can get a USDA loan even if you already own a home. And the only stipulation on that is that you can't have a USDA loan and then go get a second USDA loan. You have to have a conventional loan or a different type of a loan, FHA loan, VA loan, but you cannot have a USDA loan and then go buy another property with a USDA loan. So it's okay to use it multiple times. It's not just for first-time home buyers, which I absolutely love. Okay, so you know the benefits now. Let's look at a couple of the cons of the USDA loans. And the first one is that there are geographic restrictions. If you live in a place where the population is greater than 35,000, which is just about any urban area in the United States, you're not eligible for a USDA loan. The population has to be under 35,000 people in order for that area to be considered a place where you can get a USDA loan. Another con is that it does have its own form of mortgage insurance, and we talked about that as a positive. It does have an annual fee which takes the place of mortgage insurance. But in reality, the annual fee is a lot lower than what mortgage insurance would typically be, either on an FHA loan or even sometimes in some instances a conventional loan. Another con is that it has income limits on it. You need to be a low to moderate income borrower, and that income that you can use to qualify for the USDA loan is determined by what county you live in. And if you are a low to moderate income borrower, you can use a USDA loan, but if you make too much money, then a USDA loan is not going to be an option for you. And then just like other government loans and conventional loans, the USDA loan limit, so how big of a USDA loan is limited, and it's dependent on, again, upon where you live in the United States. It's going to be determined by county. Some of them have a higher loan limit than others, but it is determined, and that could be a factor that is a con with a USDA loan, because you can only buy a certain amount of house with a USDA loan. And then the last con is not really a con, but you can only buy a single family dwelling. You cannot buy a multi-unit property with a USDA loan. And in my book, that's totally fine. And again, going back to this quick summary, USDA loans are by far one of my favorite loans to do. And if you're in need of one, make sure that you reach out to us here at Jeff the Mortgage Pro. And I look forward to chatting with you again next time. Have a good day.